Hello, this is Drew. This is my first video about using MicroStation and Power GEOPAK Select Series 2 to store horizontal alignments, profiles, and models in MicroStation. Today we're just going to focus on horizontal alignments. The first step is to follow the link in the description to set up your project folders. My project folder has a GPK folder, a Project folder where all my MicroStation files are going to go. This first part just tells you how to set up folders, which is pretty easy. The important part is to make sure your GPK file and your GEOPAK project manager is set correctly. This is just going to take you through making a project so all your preferences will be in the same place. Now that you have a GPK folder and a project folder created, you're ready to start. Step is to set your GEOPAK preferences. So we're going to go up here to GEOPAK, Road, User Preferences, Kogo Preferences, and Job GPK Directory is the important thing right here. So you're going to go to your project folder and point it to your GPK folder. If you don't have this set up yet, there's a link in the description that tells you how to get started with all your project folders. So you're going to want to do that first. After you have that set, you can leave these two Kogo input and output files blank for now. The working directory is helpful if you want to set it to wherever your folders are, because then it will save you time later on. After your Kogo preferences are set, you're going to want to open your road tools. And to do that, you're going to go to GEOPAK, Road Tools, and once you click that, you'll get this bar on the side over here. If you set your working folder correctly in the previous step, you're going to open Project Manager, and you're going to see the link to wherever you set your working folder to appear. You're going to look for your PRJ file, which is going to be in your GPK folder. So after you get to your working folder, go to GPK, and it should show up here. If this doesn't say anything, you're going to create a new user and just enter your initials and operator code. And then you'll get this whole window box with all the different Kogo options. The first setting we're going to use in here is horizontal alignment. So we're going to click this box, and it's going to give us our Kogo window here. And what this allows you to do is store points, store chains, store lines, and eventually combine them all and make your horizontal alignment. And now we're going to store some points. So now that since you already have your initial alignment with your line here, well, it could be anything. I have a line here, a curve here, and a line. So we're going to store points at the ends and intermediate points. To do this, we use the store point function. I'm going to start with my point 1 as 1000. We're going to hit DP here, and we're going to snap to the end of this line with the endpoint snap on. Okay, and then we click to accept it, and it loads our coordinates in here. We're going to click store point. So that's our first point. We're going to do the same for this spot, and this spot. Once we have all the points we need stored, you should be able to see that they're labeled with whatever numbers you gave them. You can also check this in the dialog window where it will tell you what the system is doing. And to see all the points you have stored, you can click this navigator up here and go to points, and you'll see all the points you've stored so far. We are now ready to store our first curve. For me, I'm going to be storing this curve right here in the middle. To do so, I'm going to go to Store Curve by Tangents. I'm going to name the curve, let's go with C1. There's a couple of different ways to do this, quite a few options. Depending on how your layout is set up, it might be easier to do it one way or the other. The way I've learned to do it is by using points and the radius. So I like to use this setting here, which relies on points. So you have a point back and a PI point. So we already have a point back, 1001 right here, but we need a PI point. To get that, we're going to extend these lines till they intersect. And we have a PI point right here. We're going to have to go back to the point utility and store this point right here. My last point was stored as 1003. Since I have auto increment on, it's already giving me 1004, so I'll just do DP at the intersection. Choose my intersection tool. Grab it, store point, and there's 1004. All these scratch lines don't really matter, you can just delete them later. After we get back to our curve utility, we have our point back, and you're just going to key in the number that you assigned it to. So 1001, our PI point is 1004. Our direction ahead, I like to use the point ahead, so 1002. So this is going to make a curve with the constraint set. This is the start, end, and PI point. It just needs the last bit of information, which is the radius. So we're going to measure our radius now, and it is right here. We copy and paste that into the radius box and click Store Curve. If we do this correctly, it'll give us all the curve data here. This can all be output later onto our horizontal alignment sheet. It also highlights this little line in yellow, so you can just confirm that what you've done is what you want. After you have your curve/curve stored and all the points you need along your alignment, you're ready to store it as a chain. To do so, we're going to open the Store Change from Elements window. We're going to name the chain. I'm just going to go with chain 1. It's only one chain in this project. The begin station, normally you set that to 10,000. Over here, it gives you element options. You're going to use these points and curves to combine them all into one thing. So we're going to start with a point. Our first point is 1000. There's no option for lines here. Basically, when you store between points, it makes it to a line. And if you just have a point that leads into a curve, it'll store the point in between the start of the curve and the line, or the point you selected. So we can just go straight from point 1000 into our curve. Only one curve we've made is C1, so add that in. Then basically what we'll be looking at is the end of your curve. And if you add in the next point, 1003, it'll finish the line automatically between the points. We're going to click Store Chain, and you can see it kind of highlighted this whole alignment in a whitish shade. Again, you can check to make sure your stuff is stored correctly. Curve, you can see your curve here, and the chain we just stored should be in here under chain, and it is chain 1. Once you have everything stored, you're done with the Kogo window for now, so you can close it. Once you close it, it's going to stop displaying these chains and points. If you ever want to come back and see them again, you can just go to your navigator and highlight what you want to see and click the paintbrush, and it will visualize it. So it won't actually be an element in your drawing, it'll just show it on your screen until you close the window. As you can see, they're gone away, so we just have these scratch lines left. To make this look nice like an actual horizontal alignment, first we're going to set our layer to proposed horizontal alignment. Then we're going to open this little paintbrush tool. When you open this, you might see something different depending on where you're routing to, but the .ddb folder will have all the different standards of what you can draw, and most of them have some sort of horizontal alignment feature. We're going to go to English scale 100 here, horizontal alignments, and we have a proposed horizontal alignment, so we're going to click this one. It's our job. We want to draw the chain, so we're going to open our chain. As soon as you click that, it's going to put it down in the right shade. It's going to give us all of our curve data, northing and eastings. Depending on what you want to see here, you can check boxes, change scales. There's lots you can do with the visualization. We also like to have stationing normally, so as long as you have all this stuff set, pick your chain again, and it'll automatically drop some stations. We'll probably need some adjustments because it just kind of plops down wherever. But with a little bit of tweaking, you can make it look like a presentable alignment. My horizontal alignment is now complete. If you had any problems along the way, I would say the first step would be to Google it, because someone else has probably had the same problem before. The most common issues that I run into is mostly with my preferences and just how my workspace is set up. If something is wrong, then it's not going to show you what you want to see, and it's going to be a big headache, so make sure that everything's set up correctly before you start this process. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to store this alignment as a profile.